Secret societies of the Renaissance. Did you know that some of the most famous artists and thinkers of the Renaissance, like Leonardo da Vinci, might have been part of secret groups that held hidden knowledge? It's true, some historians believe these societies shaped history in ways we are only just now learning about. This was a time when powerful people met in the shadows, sharing big ideas that could change the world, or even get them killed. Imagine a world centuries ago, full of beautiful art, new ideas, and brave explorers. This was the Renaissance, a time of rebirth in Europe, roughly from the 1300s to the 1600s. But beneath the shiny surface, there was a hidden world. Secret societies gathered in quiet rooms, talking about things most people wouldn't dare to whisper in public. They believed in special knowledge, ancient wisdom, and ways to make the world better, and sometimes, to gain more power. One of the most talked about groups was the Knights Templar. Even though they officially ended before the Renaissance began, their ideas, and maybe even some members, lived on. They were a rich and powerful group of warrior monks who protected pilgrims traveling to the Holy Land. They became super wealthy and held many secrets. According to Dr. Helen Nicholson, a leading expert on the Templars, their network of castles and banks was like nothing else seen at the time, even influencing banking systems for centuries. After they were disbanded by the King of France and the Pope, whispers said they didn't really disappear. Instead, they just went deeper underground, hiding their treasures and their knowledge. Some people think they reformed into new secret groups in places like Scotland or Portugal. Then there were the Rosicrucians. This group appeared a bit later, in the early 1600s, right at the end of the Renaissance. They published mysterious papers that told stories of a man named Christian Rosenkreutz, who traveled the world to learn hidden wisdom. The papers talked about magic, science, and a path to making yourself perfect. People got super excited and tried to find these Rosicrucians. But no one knew who they really were or where they met. It was all very mysterious. A study from the University of Amsterdam in 2018 highlighted how these early Rosicrucian writings sparked huge intellectual curiosity across Europe, even if the group itself remained elusive. They were like a puzzle waiting to be solved, and many brilliant minds tried to solve it. Why did people join these groups? For many reasons. Some wanted to learn secret knowledge, like how the universe worked, or how to turn cheap metals into gold. This was a time before modern science, and people were very curious about magic and hidden forces. Others wanted to feel special, part of a club that knew things no one else did. Some joined for safety, to talk freely about ideas that the church or powerful rulers didn't like. Sharing new thoughts could be dangerous back then. Take the Platonic Academy of Florence. This wasn't a secret society in the same way, but it was a very exclusive group of thinkers. Cosimo de' Medici, a very rich and powerful banker, started it in Florence, Italy, in the 1400s. They met in a grand villa and talked about the ideas of an ancient Greek philosopher named Plato. They discussed how humans could become more like God, how the universe was ordered, and the beauty of math and art. While not cloaked in mystery, their discussions often delved into mystical interpretations of Plato that were seen as quite radical for the time. As noted in a 2015 historical analysis from the University of Florence, this group helped shape the Renaissance, bringing back old ideas and mixing them with new ones. They believed in the power of the human mind and soul. Another fascinating group often linked to secret societies were the alchemists. These were people who tried to change common metals into gold. But it wasn't just about money. They also believed they could find a philosopher's stone that would cure all sickness and make people live forever. Alchemists often worked in secret labs, using strange symbols and codes in their books to keep their work hidden. They were like early chemists, but also like spiritual seekers. The famous scientist Isaac Newton, much later, actually spent a lot of time on alchemy, showing how serious and widespread this secret pursuit was for many brilliant minds, according to a recent British Library digital exhibition. Their work was often seen as dangerous by the church, making secrecy a necessity. And what about the Illuminati? While they became famous much later, the idea of secret groups with hidden power comes from this time. People were already worried about who really held the strings of power. The Renaissance was a time of great change, and with change comes fear and suspicion. If things didn't make sense, people looked for secret explanations. It was easy to believe that a hidden group was controlling things from behind the scenes. These groups often used symbols to communicate. You might see a special hand gesture, a symbol carved into a building, or a hidden meaning in a painting. For example, some people believe that famous artists like Leonardo da Vinci hid secret messages in their artworks. Da Vinci was a genius inventor, artist, and scientist. He was also very curious about things that weren't allowed to be discussed openly. He wrote in mirror script, which is writing backwards, making it hard for others to read his notes. This kind of code-making was common among those with secret knowledge. Dr. Robert Wallace, a Renaissance art historian, mentioned in a 2019 lecture that Da Vinci's notebooks often contained sketches of complex machines and anatomical drawings that would have been revolutionary and potentially heretical, if widely known. The Brotherhood of the Rose Cross, another name for the Rosicrucians, used symbols like a rose and a cross, which had many hidden meanings. These symbols were not just pretty pictures, they were like secret keys, unlocking special knowledge for those who understood them. Imagine trying to read a book where every picture was a clue to a deeper truth. One interesting thing about these groups is how they passed on their knowledge. It wasn't through school or public books. It was often from teacher to student, whispered from one person to another, or found in coded texts. They held meetings in private homes, secret rooms, or even underground tunnels. The secrecy made the knowledge feel even more special and powerful. It was like being part of an exclusive club where only a few chosen people knew the real truth about the world. Think about the danger these people faced. If you talked about ideas that went against the church, you could be called a heretic. This meant you could be put on trial, punished, or even killed. The church was very powerful and wanted everyone to believe the same things. So, if you believed the earth went around the sun, if that humans could talk to spirits, you had to be very careful. Galileo Galilei, a famous astronomer, was put under house arrest by the church for saying the earth moved around the sun, proving how risky it was to share new scientific ideas. Even though these groups were secret, their ideas still managed to spread. They influenced art, science, and even politics. For example, the focus on human potential and individual thought, which was big in the Renaissance, was also a key idea in many secret societies. They helped push forward new ways of thinking, even if they did so from the shadows. Their hidden discussions helped plant the seeds for future scientific revolutions and Enlightenment movements. The fascination with secret societies of the Renaissance continues today. People love to imagine these hidden worlds, full of mystery and power. Were they good or bad? Were they trying to help humanity or just gain control? The answers are often unclear, lost to history. But what is clear is that these secret groups were a very real part of the Renaissance, adding a layer of mystery and excitement to one of the most amazing times in human history. From the quiet rooms of Florence to the hidden labs of alchemists, these secret groups explored big questions and challenged old ways of thinking. They were brave, curious, and often very smart people who dared to think differently. Their stories remind us that history is not always what it seems on the surface. Sometimes, the most important events happen in the quietest, most secret places. Their legacy, though hidden, subtly shaped the world we live in today. And the mystery of their true impact continues to invite us to look closer, beyond what is easily seen. The secrets of the Renaissance are still waiting to be fully uncovered.